Hey, apologies for the weird light. I am in my conservatory and the light is a little bit warm, but it's comfy in here, so this is where I am. So what I wanted to talk about today was my experience growing up undiagnosed with Asperger's. So I was diagnosed at 23. I had like a variety of mental health problems since I was a kid. And then I stumbled across a YouTube video one day of Herbs and Altars. And I was watching it and I was like, holy crap, I have never seen something that sort of defines everything that I've experienced my entire life. And after seeing that, I went through the process of getting an assessment and diagnosed. In the UK, you can get referred by like a doctor. I was referred by a psychologist that I was already seeing. I don't know how it works elsewhere, but that was how I did it. And I found it really helpful. Like, not everyone wants a diagnosis. Like, some people just sort of having an idea of what it is that they've got can give them closure. But for me, it's been really helpful sort of knowing what it is, so I can sort of explain myself to other people, and like, it's been quite helpful, like explaining to my employer and stuff like that. But basically what I'd experienced was I'd never really felt like I fit in. It's kind of like you're on a different wavelength to everyone else, or like you're in a game and everyone else has a cheat code, but you never got the memo. It's kind of like you're there, but you're not entirely sure what's going on, and you can't really read people very well. And you get a lot of intense emotions that you don't know how to process. You don't know how to name them. And you don't understand a lot of the time. And I didn't have a lot of friends because I didn't know how to relate to people. And then I got to secondary school and sort of changed my appearance in like year 8 or so when I was around 12, and sort of further alienated myself with my alternative interests. And I was bullied a lot, because I was the weird kid, and like looking back on it now, I'm not surprised that I was bullied. I didn't know what to do on my lunch break, so I asked for extra maths homework because in my mind that was super fun, and that was way more interesting than trying to talk to other kids. And this was when I was 14, 15, so yeah, I was an interesting teenager. But that's okay, because I know now, and I have closure now. And that's really helpful with sort of understanding. And I've spoken to a couple people sort of in real life that I've sort of got a lot in common with, that I may have noticed traits in them, or they've noticed traits. And they found it really helpful to talk about it, because there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's basically just that it's almost like you're a slightly different type of human, like you see things from outside the box. So you have a different sort of perspective on the world to sort of neurotypical type people. And to be honest, I don't hate it. Is it difficult? Yes, because I have a lot of issues, but I've also had a lot of therapy to sort of work out how to deal with intense emotions. I will never be like 100% okay, and you know what? I'm alright with that, because I've learned how to channel the intense emotions into being creative. And that's a huge outlet, and I would urge anyone who is struggling with managing their emotions to find some kind of creative hobby, whether it's making artwork or music or just anything that you can focus yourself on, that you can really like lose hours in instead of spending hours stuck in your own head, because we all know that that is not always a fun place to be. And I don't really know what else to say other than if you recognize certain traits in yourself, if you feel like you've never really fit in anywhere, like you have trouble reading people. Some people have difficulty with eye contact, which I do sometimes. It's either I can't keep eye contact or I'll end up staring at someone because I can't work out the appropriate length of time to keep eye contact. Or like the appropriate length, to have a hug with someone. Apparently it's 3 seconds. I don't know. But if you notice any of these traits, look into it. There are online quizzes. You can sort of see where you score on the spectrum, and if it comes out with sort of like you might be or it's likely that you are, I would definitely recommend looking into it. And if you do get a diagnosis, you don't have to tell anyone. It can just be for you to have some more understanding of yourself. A lot of people don't necessarily realise that I have it, because one thing with girls is that a lot of the time you're very good at masking it, because you sort of learn how to be a regular human, I suppose. And it goes undiagnosed a lot, especially if you're a little bit older. Like, I was born in the early 90s, and there wasn't so much of an emphasis on testing for these things when I was a kid, whereas now I think there's a lot more screening. But I was gonna say something else. I don't know what it was. Maybe it will. I don't know. But yeah, if you think that it might be something that you have, I would definitely say reach out, see if you can get some support. And there's no shame in it. It's just, you're just a slightly different type of person, but you can use that. You can use that attention to detail and that like intense passion for things. You can use that for good. You've just got to find your thing. And once you do, and you can harness the wonderful powers of being on the autistic spectrum, it can be great. You just got to learn who you are, and how to use that. Anyway, I hope whoever's watching this is having a great day. That was the most awkward thing ever. I mean, shockingly, shocking I would come across as awkward in a video about Asperger's, right? But anyway, I hope you have a great day, and that this was helpful to at least one person out there, because, if it was, that makes me happy. Maybe leave me a comment if this was useful to you.